This is a video tutorial on how to do the cover stitch hem with a serger. So I don't have a cover stitch machine, I just have the Brother 1034D serger, and so I wanted to make this cover stitch look, and all I had was a serger. So this is a tutorial on how to get that accomplished with a serger. It is a little bit harder and you need both the serger and the sewing machine to do it. But this is what it looks like on the outside of the hem, because the inside of the hem is definitely not pretty. It's just a hem on the inside. So the outside, like I said, this is a mock cover stitch. This is not a real cover stitch, but it looks good. So this is just a piece of t-shirt that I've taken. This is the outside and this is the inside of the t-shirt. Hopefully you can see that just by I left the armpit serging on the shirt so that we can tell the inside from the outside. And so I'm going to hem this bottom edge with that cover stitch look that you see here. First thing I do is I flip it over so that I'm looking at the wrong side of the fabric and fold this up about 1.5 inches or so. And I like to use this guide here to make sure it's even. It doesn't have to be a perfect 1.5 inches, it just has to be, I would say 1.5 inches or more. I'm just gonna pull it up a little bit right here so it's even. And then I will iron this and then I'll meet you over at the serger. I am using all 4 threads on my serger. Here's my settings, 4, 4, 5, 5. Using both needles. And so the top of my serger threads look like this, and the bottom looks like this. And because I want that 3 line mark, that the cover stitch has an option for 3 needles, so I want that 3 needle look. I'm going to go with this side for the outside of my hem. And let's go over to the table here. This is that same piece of fabric. All I did was iron it. And so I'm going to serge along this folded edge here. And I don't want to cut anything off. Not that it really matters if I do, but I don't want to cut anything off. And so I'm going to sew along that, but I want this side facing up, so that when I fold it up, it's going to have this 3 line look. So let me just shove this through the serger real quick. I'm holding the phone with my hand, so let me just serge it real quick. I'll show you. Oh, by the way, I have the blade off, but it doesn't really matter. Maybe I can stick it through the machine with you watching. So my blade is off. Here's my settings, if you can see that. And you put it in so that it is right up against where the blade would be. So about like right there. So let me try to serge this. Because my blade is off, I'm gonna cut it with scissors. Okay, so now I've got the blade, the 3 stitch look on this side, and just remember this is the inside of our fabric. See the stitching up here. And this is that folded edge, and I've serged it. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna lay it open, right side up. And I'm going to iron this guy flat like this, just real quick. Well, let's go over to the iron. Okay, so this is the flap here that we just serged. That was a folded edge, it's not cut. And I just ironed it so that it is up. But we still have this raw edge here, so it's not actually a hem yet. All we're gonna do is we're gonna fold that hem up so that this raw edge comes just past the top of this flap. And you'll see why in just a second. So let me fold that up and iron it. I'll get back to you. All right, I've folded it under. Let's see if I can show you how I've done this. So this is still loose. It's just been folded up so that you can see all these 3 lines. And then the excess here has been turned under so that it's just past the top of this. I can kind of feel it, and I'll show you where it's sitting. So it's just gone a little bit higher than that stitching there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to put it in the sewing machine, and I'm going to sew along this edge right here, that top edge. And I just want to barely catch those threads. And in the process, I'm also going to catch this fabric here.